What's up YouTube, welcome back to the channel. My name is Ilias, I'm a photographer located in Athens, Greece, and in this video I have a really special comparison to make. It's basically the 40mm f2 Nikon lens over here against the 40mm f2.5 from VILTROX. So both of these lenses are really popular, especially the 40mm from Nikon. Both of these lenses are really low budget and both of these are for the Nikon Z full frame mount. But of course you can use them on your crop sensor cameras as well. So I've had both of these lenses for quite a bit of time. I've used them on weddings, I've used them on portrait shoots, I've done street photography with them. I've basically tested them in real world scenarios in order to have the best experience possible, in order to see their flaws and their positives, how they perform in terms of autofocus, how they perform in terms of bokeh, in terms of video, in terms of the sharpness and all kind of stuff. So we're going to take a look at all of these subjects, and at the end of the video we're going to see which one of these lenses is the right choice for you. So the VILTROX over here is definitely the cheapest option. You can get it for new for about 180 to 190 euros on the website from VILTROX, but obviously there are many sales happening all the time, so you can get it for even cheaper. The Nikon, on the other hand, is a little bit more expensive. It costs around 250 new, which for a Nikon full frame lens is really inexpensive as well. But the good thing with this is that it's also available on the used market, so you can find even better deals over there. So before we talk about the all important image quality and all that good stuff, let's quickly take a look at the build quality of both of these lenses, because this is also really important for many people out there. So you can see that if we have them side by side, the VILTROX is just a tiny bit larger. Over here on the back, you can see that the VILTROX has a metallic back and the Nikon has a plastic back. This is really typical for low budget Nikon lenses. They are trying to cut the price all the time. Other than that, both of these lenses are naked lenses basically. Like the only thing that they have on the body is their manual focus rings over here, and as you can see, the VILTROX manual focus ring over here is larger. The manual focus ring on the Nikon is definitely smoother. The manual focus ring on the VILTROX is a little bit stiffer, but some people prefer that because when you're manual focusing, you don't want to accidentally bump into your lens and switch your focus point. Other than that, both of these lenses are not weather sealed. Both of these lenses are also made out of plastic. The plastic is a nice quality on both of them. They're basically the same weight as well, and they also have the same filter size on the front over here, which is 52 millimeters. So in terms of build quality, both of them did a really nice job. Anyways, that's enough about the build quality. Let's now talk about the all important image quality. And the key difference in terms of image quality is obviously on the f-stop. Like the Nikon lens is an f2 lens and the VILTROX lens is an f2.5 lens. In terms of light coming in, that's not a huge difference, but the bigger difference is on the autofocus background. So let's quickly talk about the bokeh that both of these lenses produce. The Nikon renders the bokeh really smoothly. It has a really nice and pleasing look to it. The VILTROX, on the other hand, even though it's a nice autofocus background, in some situations it's a little bit busy. As you can see here side by side, the rendering on the leaves is a little bit busier on the VILTROX. Okay, let's also talk about the autofocus on both of these lenses, and after the autofocus we will address the sharpness, and I will also play a small montage of my favorite images which I have taken with both of these lenses, so you can get a better understanding of the images that you can create with both of these lenses. But yeah, like I was saying, in terms of autofocus in photography mode, both of these lenses perform really great. Both of these lenses have no issue following a model in and out of the frame. They have a really high hit rate, and to be honest, when I was using them in all of these different kind of situations, I didn't really notice a difference in autofocus speed or in autofocus accuracy. So in order to find a difference on the autofocus, I also tried the autofocus on video mode. So what I did is I placed both of these lenses on a tripod with the same exact settings on my Nikon ZFC. I used the Nikon ZFC instead of my Z5 because the ZFC has a much better autofocus system from the Z5. So yeah, take a look at these clips so you can see how these lenses perform on video mode while tracking a subject, a model, which is basically me. Alright, in terms of these clips, we have a little bit to talk about them. Like I said, when you're taking pictures, there's not a real world difference between these two lenses. But when you're doing video, especially when you're walking towards the camera or away of the camera, I feel like the Nikon lens tracks me better. Between the movements, even though the VILTROX is tracking my eye perfectly, the lens autofocus motor is a little bit slower than the Nikon, and this results in me being a little bit out of focus when I'm moving. Other than that, both of these lenses are really accurate in terms of their autofocus, but if you care about video autofocus and especially on moving targets, then I think the Nikon did a slightly better job. So before we continue on towards the sharpness test and all the photography samples, I want to ask you, if you enjoy this content, then maybe consider liking this video, because this really helps out with the algorithm. And if you're new here and you like photography, street photography, travel photography, portraits, weddings, and all that kind of stuff, and also a little bit of gear talk, then maybe consider subscribing. That's about it. Let's continue on with the video. So like I was saying, let's talk about the sharpness. So in order to test out the sharpness, I took a few sample shots of a wall, and we're going to zoom in right now on Lightroom in order to see which lens is sharper, which lens is softer, and all that good stuff. So we are here on Lightroom, and let's zoom in on the middle of these two images in order to see which one is sharper. On the right side, we have the Nikon at f2. On the left side, we have the VILTROX at f2.8. And as you can see, clearly you can see it here on the blue and over here on the texture, the VILTROX is sharper. The VILTROX is a lot sharper over here. If we zoom in on the corner, again, same story applies on the corners as well. The VILTROX is sharper than the Nikon. Let's go on and stop down the Nikon lens at f2.5, and if we zoom in again over here in the corner, you can see that immediately the Nikon becomes a little bit sharper from f2, but again, you can see here the texture is sharper on the VILTROX. Not by a lot, but it's sharper. On the corners, it's closer now, but again, you can see here on all these textures that the VILTROX is a little bit sharper. If we close down the lenses at f4, nice, and we zoom in on the middle of the image, I think the sharpness is equal. Like, I cannot personally see a difference over here. On the corners, basically the same thing. Is there a difference? I don't see it basically, personally. Let's go on at f5.6. Zoom in here on the corner. I don't see a difference in the sharpness, to be honest. Zoom in the corners, same exact thing. Maybe the Nikon is even sharper right now in the corners, maybe just a little bit. And at f8, if we zoom in here in the middle, both of the lenses are excellent. And over here on the corner, again, both of the lenses are excellent. And at f11 over here, as you can see, the fraction starts to hit on both of the lenses at the same time. They are softer than what they are at f8, but again, they have the same amount of detail in the middle and on the corner. So, in terms of sharpness, if you are going to shoot wide open, the VILTROX is definitely sharper from the Nikon, but again, the Nikon has also the f2 aperture, which makes the bokeh softer. What I've noticed is that one of the lenses is not exactly 40mm. Like, I took the same shot with both of the lenses, and the VILTROX is a little bit wider. So yeah, one of these is not exactly 40mm. Anyways, now that we talked about the bokeh, the sharpness, the autofocus, and the build quality, let's take a moment and take a look at the montage with some of my favorite images that I've taken with both of these lenses in all the real world scenarios that I've used them. A quick side note, all of these images were edited with my Lightroom presets, so if you want to edit like me and you like my editing style on Instagram and here on YouTube, then definitely check them out below. They're really affordable. It's a preset pack basically with over 40 presets. So yeah, if you want to support me, that's the best way to do it. If you don't want to buy my presets or if you can't afford them, that's quite alright. A like and a subscribe on the video is also really helpful. Anyways, enjoy the images. Alright, I hope you really enjoyed the images that you just saw. Personally, 40mm is my favorite focal length. This and 35mm, I always feel like I'm more connected with the world at 40mm. I don't know why, but yeah, that's just me. About the conclusion, which lens is for whom and which lens I recommend more. To be honest, you can't really go wrong with either of these two lenses. Like, if you want to save the most amount of money, obviously the VILTROX is the way to go. It's also sharper wide open. But if you want the better autofocus on video, the faster autofocus on video, and if you want that f2 aperture and the smoother bokeh, then the Nikon is the way to go. Basically, everyone has different needs, everyone has different wallets. So yeah, you personally, I'm pretty sure, know which one of these two lenses is the right choice for you and for your use case. I have a separate review for the VILTROX 40mm f2.5. I will also make a separate review for the Nikon 40mm f2 over here. But at the end of the day, both of these lenses, for what they're offering, are, yeah, highly recommended. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys today. Again, presets down below if you want to edit like me. If you're new here, consider subscribing. And yeah, once again, thank you so much for spending your valuable time by watching my content. This really means the world to me. And as always, see you all next time. Take care. Peace.